My name is Lily. I've been married for just over a year, and I've been trying hard to make my mother-in-law like me, but nothing seemed to work. One day, she came to me and said, "I'm giving you back." I was confused. "What do you mean, giving me back?" I asked. She drove me to my parents' house, which was close by. When we got there, she yelled out the door, "Hey, come out." My dad rushed outside. "What's going on?" he asked. "I need to talk to you," my mother-in-law said. "Let's go inside," my dad offered, but she refused. "No, we'll talk here. We're returning your worthless daughter," she snapped. "Worthless?" My dad's face turned red with anger. "What do you mean by that?" "Exactly what I said. A wife who only earns $500 a month is broken goods," she said coldly. Broken? My dad looked like he might explode, but my mother-in-law kept talking, ignoring his anger. "She can't cook, she's messy, and she doesn't earn enough," she complained. "Now you have to take her back." Just then, my mom came outside. "What do you mean, take her back?" my dad demanded. "I'm returning her, so her parents need to deal with her," my mother-in-law said. My parents glanced at each other and nodded. "If we have to take responsibility, then we'll shut down the business," my dad said firmly. "Yes, we'll close it," my mom agreed. "What, you're closing the business?" My mother-in-law looked shocked. "What business are you talking about?" my father-in-law asked, confused. "You told us to take responsibility. It's a business, what else?" my dad said sharply. I took a deep breath. When my dad got this mad, there was no changing his mind. He always kept his promises, especially when it came to me, because he loved me so much. Why did my dad love me so much? When I was little, I was always sick. If I caught even a small cold, I'd get a high fever and stay in bed for days. I missed a lot of school and didn't have many friends. My mom would sit with me when I was sick, and my dad would leave work early just to take care of me, because I was weak. He loved me even more. Both my parents spoiled me. Being sick wasn't so bad. They bought me toys, books, and games to keep me happy. My favorite thing was my dad's old laptop. I used it to draw, play games, and go online. It wasn't fancy, but I loved it. My older brother was jealous because I got so many things. As a child, I spent most of my time in bed, too sick to play outside, but my dad's old computer opened up a whole new world for me. I thought, maybe I can build my own world here. That's one of my happiest childhood memories, and the moment I fell in love with computers. I started with simple drawings, then moved to digital art. Eventually, I became obsessed with 3D design and decided to study graphic design. Even with my health struggles, I knew I could do this. Starting my career, after high school, I worked from home as a graphic designer. It wasn't easy, I had no training, and finding clients was tough, but since I couldn't work in an office, I had to make it work on my own terms. I spent hours learning online and practicing. Slowly, people noticed my work, clients started returning, and word spread. After years of hard work, it finally felt like a real career. My big break, 5 years later, my work had gained some attention. Then, my dad, who ran a small construction business, asked me a surprising question. "Want to make an ad for our company?" I was shocked. His business was tiny, just him, my mom, and my brother, but they were well known in our town. "Are you serious? Will you pay me?" I joked. "I'm asking because you're good at this," he said, smiling. I felt proud. I designed an ad for the local paper and even built them a website. Since the company was small, we weren't famous nationwide, but our neighbors noticed. People would stop me and say, "I saw your ad, it looks amazing." My design even became a poster, displayed at my dad's shop and around town. For the first time, I thought, I can support myself, I'm independent. A new opportunity, and a new crush? Soon, rumors spread, the construction guy's daughter is a designer. More local businesses asked for my help. One day, an electrician, a close partner of my dad's, asked, "Can your daughter make ads for us too?" When the job was done, the electrician came to thank me in person, but it wasn't the usual guy. It was his son, Ethan, a college grad helping run the family business. "So, you'll take over someday?" I asked. "That's the plan," he said. "Then I guess we'll be working together a lot," I replied. He grinned. "I'd like that, especially with someone as pretty as you." My face turned red. I'd never been flirted with before. Was he serious? That day, we swapped personal numbers, not business contacts. My heart raced all night. After that, Ethan and I kept talking, and not just about work. Over time, Ethan and I grew closer. We'd chat daily, about our lives, hobbies, and little things we loved. Eventually, friendship turned to romance, but our relationship wasn't like others. My health made things hard, I couldn't travel far, so our dates were just walks in the park. No movies, no dinners out. Ethan's job was another hurdle. He installed air conditioners, and during busy seasons, he even worked on his days off. Meanwhile, I worked from home and could take breaks anytime. Still, we made it work. Texts and calls kept us connected, and after a few years, we got married. A warm welcome. At first, Ethan's parents were kind when I moved in. His mom told me, "Just handle light housework, nothing that'll strain you." I agreed, relieved. His dad even asked me to help with his business website, which I did despite it not being my specialty. But slowly, things changed. His mom's requests piled up: watch the store for me, clean this up, run this errand. Soon, I spent more time on chores than my design work. My income dropped to just $500 a month, but since Ethan covered expenses, I didn't panic. The breaking point. Then came the exhaustion. One day, I collapsed with fever. When I told my mother-in-law I needed rest, she scoffed. "You're sick from that?" No sympathy, just annoyance. Ethan didn't understand why I couldn't refuse his parents. "Just say no," he'd say, but I worried about causing tension. That night, I cried alone, feeling trapped in my own marriage. Never enough. After recovering, I kept trying to please my mother-in-law, skipping work, doing more chores, but when she learned I only earned $500 now, she gasped, "That's all? And you still don't do enough here?" Her words stung. I'd given so much, yet it was never enough. For the first time, I wondered, would anything ever satisfy her? Everything happened so fast. One moment, my mother-in-law was dragging me back to my parents' house. The next, my father was shutting down his construction company in defiance. The argument between him and my father-in-law grew ugly, with threats about destroying the family business. But my dad stood his ground. "I have other clients," he said coldly. "My company won't fall because of you." I stood there, numb. My mother-in-law's mocking glare made me feel worthless. Was my marriage even worth saving? When my father quietly asked, "Do you want a divorce?" I nodded, tears blurring my vision. Maybe it was the only way out. Then came the text from Ethan, "Let's get divorced." My hand shook as I tried calling him, no answer. His lawyer handled the rest. It was over. The aftermath. My father's business collapsed soon after, but then my brother stepped in. He took over the company and cut all ties with Ethan's family. Word spread fast, and rumors swirled that Ethan's air conditioning business was struggling. A year later, the truth came out. Someone was sabotaging my brother's construction sites, AC units mysteriously damaged. Repairs needed constantly, but we set up security cameras and caught the culprits, Ethan's parents. They'd been vandalizing properties to drum up business for themselves. The police arrested them, and suddenly, everything made sense. Moving on, with Ethan's family disgraced and their business ruined, I felt no pity, just relief. I was finally free. Now, I work as a graphic designer for my brother's company, setting my own hours without fear or pressure. The only downside? My retired father won't stop fussing over me. "Are you eating enough? Did you sleep well?" I finally joked. "Dad, you need a hobby." To my surprise, he went back to work at my brother's company just to stay busy. It's a little smothering, but deep down, I love it. His constant check-ins remind me how much he cares. This past year was painful, but now, I'm happy. No toxic in-laws, no crumbling marriage, just me, my family, and a future I control.